What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video here at Matty Fish 33 on YouTube. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, share, click the bell, get those notifications. If you've been here before, thank you, and I appreciate you guys. Couldn't do this without all of you. So, in the middle of a water change here, I'm going to show you something real fast, and then we're going to talk about what's going to happen in today's video. So, I should have filmed this time, but I just cleaned this FX6 out. Really nice flow right now, but check out the flow on the other one. You know? So, obviously though, I'm not going to clean both canisters at the same time, so good. For now, I'd call it adequate. But I want to wait at least a week or two before I clean this one because I don't want to crash my cycle. One thing I will talk about though, I did clean this in tank water, and I left all of my bio submerged in the tank water that I had in a bucket while I cleaned the rest of the inside of the canister filter, so that helps. But again, would just be overload in a tank this size and with fish these size if I decided that I was going to clean both at the same time. It could end very, very badly, guys. You don't ever want to do that. You probably will crash your cycle. But that being said, while I'm doing the rest of my Saturday morning water changes, what I am going to do is clean the sump on the 112. That's going to be this guy down here. And we are going to film that in today's video, and we're going to kind of go through that a little bit. It's been a while. This is just going to be a basic cleaning, not a full, like, crazy full-on cleaning. And guys, this is all a matter of opinion, right? There are 3 things that you really need to keep in mind, and that is how to properly clean without crashing your cycle, ways of cleaning, and levels of cleaning. And I'll kind of talk about that a little more once we get into this. So let's go ahead and get started here in a minute. All right, and we're back, guys. So, got my bucket, got my other sterile bucket. Both of these buckets are sterile. Very important detail. No chemicals or anything you're going to use with your aquarium. Best if it's sterile. Even better if it's food safe or food grade. Which this is not. That's sterile, but this is a food grade bucket that is left over from work. So we're also going to do a water change at the same time. Yes, there's some mallet up there. It's kind of what I just used to hold my glass down so that we don't have any slippage or accidents. So the first thing that I am going to do, you see the level of the sump is kind of low right now because it's been a week since we did a water change. So I'm going to let some water backflow into this sump first, and then we are going to get into the cleaning portion of the sump while we are doing the rest of the water change. So let me set you guys down, and I'm going to let you guys watch this kind of backflow in here. And I just want to get enough water in here so that I'm getting, so that all my tank water, or how do I say this? So that I have enough water before I do the water change in the sump that I'm not really introducing a lot of the new water that's not diffused already into my sump. Now granted, we are cleaning it today, but I'm going to show you proper way to clean your filtration so that you don't lose all of your beneficial bacteria, and just a way to kind of act as a shock absorber, so to speak, so that if you do clean your filter, that one, like I said, you retain more of your beneficial bacteria and that you do not completely shock your system and or crash your cycle. But let's go ahead and let this water level come up a little bit. So I'm going to unplug the sump pump for a minute. We're just going to kind of bring that level up. And then we're going to go ahead and get our water change started, and then we will get into cleaning this sump. I wouldn't say that this sump is exactly dirty. However, I do need to clean out some of these filter pads that are in here and change the flossing so that I can get a little bit better flow through here. You guys will kind of see what I mean in a minute. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright. Looks like we have a low enough water level that I'm not going to need to plug this pump back in. So let me go ahead and go turn the siphon on, and then we're going to get into it here, guys. Alright, siphon is on. I'm sorry if there's a little more background noise. Let me know. But, so first thing we're going to do, now if I'm doing my canisters on the other tank, I'm going to take some tubing and get water out of the tank that way. This tank, it's a little easier to just remove the lids and play around in that sense because it's not quite as tall. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is just take this lid off. I'm going to have to set you guys down for that. Hold on, let me see if I can get a good angle so you guys can watch me. Alright. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and get this lid off. And then we're going to get some tank water into our bucket for cleaning these sponge portions of our filtration. Alright. Not quite as smooth as I was hoping that would be when I did that, but the important thing is that we got it off and it didn't fall and it didn't break any glass especially, so I call that a win in my book, guys. Alright, so now, again, going to stress the importance that this is a sterile bucket. So I'm going to take some tank water from here. Also, you're going to notice while I'm doing this water change, I'm leaving that hob filter running. That hob filter does need to be cleaned, but honestly, I think I'm going to get another polishing filter soon, get a little canister and put it down there, and get this hob filter off the back of this tank. But that's going to happen sometime in the near future, I would think, in the next month or two, guys. I know we just kind of went through a big setup with redoing the cube and getting that all put back together. So now that that is complete, it's kind of time to focus on some things that I've wanted to get to adding to my existing systems and making, in my opinion, what I would call some improvements. Not that there's anything wrong with my setups, clearly they work, but you know, I would always like to continue improving this and improving the quality of life for all of my fish and continuing to show you guys along this journey so that hopefully we can learn from each other in these processes. Alright, I think we've got enough tank water here now. So, I'm going to move you guys back down and we're going to start cleaning our sump. Let's go ahead and do that. I still have yet to get a phone stand, so sorry for all of the craziness in regards to that. Let me go grab a towel real quick too. Alright. Just going to put a towel here, make sure I don't spill any water. Really don't want to get any water down inside the stand or try to eliminate the amount of water that I get on my floor if I can help it. Alright, so we have our bucket of our tank water, and now we are going to use that to clean our sponges and stuff. These do get quite gunked up. As you can see, it's kind of brown instead of blackish, as it normally is. But guys, this is what is going to slow your filtration down the fastest, is when your sponges start getting clogged up with a bunch of detritus and or mum. So one thing I will show you too, so I'm just going to stick it straight into the tank water bucket. One thing I will show you though, there is a considerable amount of you know, what some people may consider waste, but that is not waste down there. All that dirt or detritus looking stuff, that's mum. That's actually full of a lot of beneficial bacteria to your aquarium, and I'm really not going to go ahead and remove it by any means. The only time that I'm really removing this mum is when it gets into these sponges and I clean them out, and that's when it kind of gets removed, because this is very beneficial to your tank in my opinion. Again, this is mum and not detritus or waste. Very, very, very different, guys. I can't stress the importance of that. Mum is actually inert, and it's, like I said, full of beneficial bacteria that is not going to hurt your fish. It's only going to help your tank system retain stability. And that is something that comes with age. Now, the first couple times that you clean out your filtration, once you set up a new filter, I guarantee you what you see is not mum, and I would recommend cleaning that out. But as a filtration and as the system ages, you're going to see as you go along that the composition of what looks like waste is waste is going to begin to change. And you'll notice the difference. And then you will realize at some point that instead of detritus waste, that it has turned into and or become mum. So, just going to give this a little squeeze here. I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this floss, and we'll get some new floss, like I said earlier in the video. Alright, so here's the key part for it, guys. So, this is where most of my beneficial bacteria is living, is going to be here inside of all of this matrix media. So, going to gently lift this up, trying to not make a huge mess inside the sump while we do this, but there we go. This I'm just going to set over here. I don't want this to leave the sump unless it has to. Because, again, this has to do with retaining as much of that beneficial bacteria as you can. Now, if I was going really in depth now, look, you guys can see how much crap is attached to this sponge. I say crap, but it's not actual crap, but you guys get the point. Now, if I was going to fully clean this out, obviously I would siphon some of this out and all that, but like I said, this is a matured system, so this is not exactly something that is going to harm your tank. So now I got both my sponges in here. I don't think we're going to mess with this side. Here's some bio bricks. We have the pothos over here, our Purigen. And then in the back of the sump, we have bio balls back here and another smaller pothos. There's really no sponge work or anything back there like that, so we're going to go ahead and just get these sponges squeezed out, wring them out. It's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see, but I'll bring the bucket. So really, I'm just gently squeezing everything out, and I'm going to show you guys how dark this water is going to get when I'm done with this process. Like, it's going to be pretty astounding and eye-opening for some of you how much crap is actually going to come out of these sponges. But again, I'm cleaning them in tank water because I'm trying to minimize any loss of beneficial bacteria. You're always going to have some, but this really is going to help prevent you from completely killing off your beneficial bacteria that is inside of your media and your sponges. The media we're not cleaning today. Like I said, we're just going to leave it inside the sump as you saw, so that can be alright in that sense. I didn't even really take it out of the water for more than a couple seconds, so hopefully in media I would assume that we're not really losing any beneficial bacteria at that point. Alright, so that's one sponge complete. Looks way, way better. We're going to go ahead and stick this back down in there. Alright, now we're going to squeeze our other sponge out. kind of feel like I'm rambling a little bit in this portion of the video, guys, but you know, I'm trying to give you guys as much information as possible. But you know, just give this a couple more squeezes, and we are going to move our bacteria back over, or excuse me, our media back over, and we will give the tray a little shake, and we'll get some filter floss cut and put in there as well. So, alright, there's our other sponge. As you can see, much cleaner than it was before. I'm going to set that in here for a second, go get my filter floss, and when I come back, you guys, we're going to cut our filter floss and put our sump back together. So real quick, I'm just going to show you guys though. Look at this water. It was clear when we started. Let me go over here where there's more light so you can really see. But look at that. It's like swamp water. It really never gets old. It's almost satisfying in a sense to see how much is actually coming out of there. But watch as I pour this out, you guys. Look at that. All that was stuck inside that sponge filtration and clogging it. And then you see there's some, but look at all of that. Pretty gross, eh guys? Makes really good fertilizer though if you have a lot of plants. It makes it amazing fertilizer because of all the nutrients from the waste and what detritus may or may not be in it. So let's go ahead and go back the other way and put this back together here in a minute. Alright, so I went and I got my filter floss. Let's go ahead and move our bio back over real quick. So this is just cheap filter floss. Works very well for helping to polish out your water. If you haven't used flossing like that to polish your water, I highly recommend it. You will notice a big difference in the clarity and quality of your water, for sure. And this is something that you can put right on top of your filtration so that you can take it out and change it out more frequently without having to change your change is not the word, excuse me, without having to fully clean your filtration. I definitely recommend putting it towards the top of whatever system you're using it in so you can just pick and pull if it does get clogged up and needs to be replaced. That is going to be a lot easier if you don't put it at the bottom of your filtration. Back in here, there we go. Now that that's done, actually, sorry guys, I'm going to put the filter floss underneath of this as I've done before so I can kind of surround this. So let's get this opened up, get some cut, pop it in there. Right. Just going to go ahead and measure up with this right here. There we go. And then we're going to cut. And I'm keeping this doubled over because I kind of want to put it around the sides of the media bag so that there's not as much of a gap as there may be if I don't double it over. So we're just going to go ahead and give it one of these. Just pressing lightly. I don't want it to be too tight where it can get clogged faster. You kind of want it to have a little bit of space so that it can expand a little bit. Because as it fills up with stuff anyways, it's going to contract. And the more it contracts, the more flow restricting it is going to become. So it's important to kind of just leave it a little pillowy and not compress it too much in this process. Otherwise, you're going to end up doing this far more frequently and unnecessarily more than likely. So we're good here now. That's sitting up there. let's go ahead and put our final sponge back. And that's basically it, guys. I will see you guys back here in a minute. Actually, sorry, I am forgetting one thing. So one other thing I'm going to do, since we're in the middle of a water change and we are about to go back the other way, as you can see, the hob is kind of struggling now as it's below some of the breaks in the pipe extenders. That's okay though, as long as water's still coming, not going to hurt that. But we're going to go ahead and put our chems into our sump, and then we're probably going to go ahead and turn our water filter, or excuse me, turn our water the other way and get this back up and running. And I'm going to show you the difference in kind of how the sump will flow now that we've cleaned out that filtration sponges. So let me go grab some chemicals here. I say chemicals, but you know, our prime, our stability, our beneficial bacteria, things like that. So, what did I do? Alright, so we've gotten, so the two most important things that I've probably spoken about many times on this channel when you're doing water change, really this is all you need, your prime and your stability. That's going to remove your, well, not remove, but it'll make your ammonia safe until your beneficial bacteria converts it. So it actually converts the ammonia in whatever water you are adding to the tank into ammonium, which is safe for fish compared to ammonia. And then obviously stability to continue that biological filter and provide a little bit more beneficial bacteria anytime you do a water change or a filter clean. I like to pour it straight into my filtration because I think it's the most beneficial for it to go there, because that is where all of your bacteria, aside from the bacteria that's in a well-established substrate at the bottom of your tank, that is where all of your bacteria is pretty much living, or at least the bacteria that is going to keep your nitrogen cycle stable. I also use a little bit of pristine. This kind of just helps turn sludge and detritus into mum and converts it a little faster, and it helps keep things a little cleaner as well. Now, there are directions on the back of these bottles, guys. I'm just kind of going to show you the amounts that I normally do when I do these things, but we can go over these a little more in depth in another video if you guys like. But let's go ahead and get this in here and get our water turned around. So this tank's 112 gallons. For prime, recommends 1 capful for 50 gallons. So I always do 3 for this one, just to give it a little bit extra. It is okay to overdose with prime. You can overdose, I believe it's either up to 6 times the recommended dose or 10. It's one of the two. Generally, you would only want to do that in an emergency though. For stability, that's kind of more of a matter of opinion. You can put almost as much of this as you want in here, really. But I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 capsules because, actually, let's do 5, because it is 1 for about every 20 gallons once your tank is really established. We're going to add a tiny little bit of stress guard in too. I should probably just put this on the outlet side, so as soon as we fire this up, it's going to go straight to the fish tank. So we'll do it like that. Alright guys, we're going to turn the water around on our water change, and I will see you guys back here in a minute. Alright, so everything's filled back up. Got some flow going. Our wave makers provide a nice flow. So is that still a little bit cloudy from bringing the water back. Also because I wasn't filming this, but I made a fatal mistake. I started testing my water over here on the cube and kind of forgot about this for a split second, got focused on that, and I overflowed my aquarium a little bit. And fortunately, it only overflowed through the sump and not out the top of the aquarium. Otherwise, it would have been a bigger mess and I would have had water all in the stand. but I only have water in the bottom of the stand. It's okay, it needed to be cleaned under here anyways, as you can see, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that off camera, obviously though. But as you guys can see, there is much more flow over this now than there was before, and it is pulling a lot better through here. It's kind of hard to see without much for frame of reference other than the way that this is flowing over here, but you can definitely see that it is pulling much better, and that's good because this is far more level than it was. It's a little unlevel because I've been dealing with the water change, but this level is going to be more constant now, and we're going to be in good shape for quite some time, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video on cleaning a sump, and let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. I know that there are other ways to do this, maybe even better ways to do this. I haven't been doing sumps for that long. I've only had sumps for a couple years. I've mostly been a canister filter guy. So learning is a process, guys. If you haven't yet, again, please subscribe here, and I will see you in the next video, and hopefully I will see most of you guys tomorrow for Sunday swim at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Matty Fish out.